it's me Dan, and in this video I am coming to you from the squatted position because this video is on, as you may have guessed by now, the squatting position. Now, this is a very important position that people aren't doing enough of. In fact, this is a position that should be done every day, at least once a day, and in some parts of the world it is done. And the reason for this is because it's the natural position to poop. Now, I could have said it's the natural position to go to the bathroom, but it's important to think about the fact that going to the bathroom isn't natural at all. Think about it. It's the bathroom. It's part of the house. It's a room in your house. You sit on the toilet. Like, it's not natural at all. So it's just something I want you to think about, how the disconnect between our natural way of doing certain bodily functions and how focused we are on the cultural way and how much the cultural way has become the norm. So this is a position that if you were in a totally natural state, you would enter in every day. And there are many benefits to this position, both for health reasons and for actual physical performance reasons. And so I'm going to advocate that you get very good at this position, both holding it and being able to move in and out of it. So, for health reasons, there's the fact, going back to this idea that you're supposed to poop from it, essentially when you get into this alignment, you get into this position, it creates a different alignment throughout this part of your body, this lower part of your body, and that creates a different alignment in your organs that's supposed to occur at least once a day. And even if you don't immediately start pooping from this position, it's still important to get that alignment of your organs so that things can pass through more easily in the way that they're supposed to. It's the way you're designed to function. So when you're not designed to, when you're not doing things in the way you're supposed to, in the way you're designed to, it's going to cause problems. And so one thing to think about is that pretty much any movement that you do or any position of your body you could think of as a pattern. And if you don't sufficiently have enough power in that pattern or enough flow through that pattern, through that bodily pattern, it manifests in other parts of your life. So for example, say you're not going in this position enough, a very close relationship with that would be this idea of getting constipated or not having sufficiently aligned organs for clearing. And as a pattern, this manifests in people's lives in more than one way, of just getting, not just literally, but they also get stuck in things, and they don't have this sort of this life pattern to clear things and move through things, right? Everybody's stuck in this sort of like, they're just stuck and they're not moving through properly. So that's just one idea to think about, that you need these patterns in order to function properly in all aspects of your life. So in addition to the organ alignments, there's also a lot going on with both strengthening and flexibility of your feet, your ankles, your knees, your hips, and your spine. And it just so happens that due to sitting in chairs instead of sitting in or squatting in this position, both when you're in the bathroom and when you're just sitting throughout most of the day, these body parts aren't functioning as they should be, and in many people they are in very bad shape and are atrophying. And you get all sorts of muscular imbalances as a result of this, and this both manifests as health issues and in all of those body parts for people as a health issue, and then of course muscle imbalances also correlate to performance issues in athletic performances. So it's very important from the health perspective and from keeping things functioning well. Furthermore, on the athletic performance end and just the general well-being end, this is part of your being that you're supposed to move. It's part of your body that you're supposed to move and have this ability to do this in. And so if you want to get the most out of your body, which of course you would if you're any kind of athlete, regardless, you want to get the most out of it possible, you need to be able to do this very basic position, right? So now I want to cover how I would recommend actually practicing it. And there are a lot of ways you can go about it, and oftentimes I found when I was trying to develop this ability was I mixed up whatever method I was using. So fundamentally, keep your goal in mind that you want to get to this position. So one thing to help you sort of visualize and experience that is actually getting in this position. Now most people probably, and before I continue, please don't go into any positions that hurt. If it hurts, that means don't do it. Just go to whatever range of motion you're comfortable in. And gradually, as you strengthen and get more accustomed to these patterns, you'll be able to go deeper and better into it. So, one way that, should you be feeling up to it, that I would recommend getting accustomed to this position is just squatting all the way down into this position. And now most of the time, if you can't do it, people are going to roll back, right? You're going to fall backwards, right? Like that. And so there are two things you can do. At the earliest level, I would recommend having something behind you, like a wall or a piece of furniture that you can just lean up against. And that'll start to stretch and strengthen various parts without having to do the whole thing, which you probably aren't capable of doing right off the bat. So that's one way. Another would be to get to whatever position, go as low as you can, and just get to whatever position you can within as you get more and more comfortable. Get into various parts and hold it for as long as it's comfortable. I'm not a believer that you need to torture your body and feel the burn, right? Because pain isn't a signal of betterment. Pain is a signal of stop doing that. So stop doing that if it hurts, if you feel pain. It's pretty simple, actually. Another thing you can do if you're falling back is to actually have something under your heels. Right? So if you have something under your heels, you won't fall back as readily. It shifts your entire sense of balance and your center line forward, and will help you, again, adjust to this new position in parts. You can also use that technique if you're using the following method, which is a little bit more of an advanced step in your progression to getting this pattern, which is to actually do what are typically referred to as squats. Now, if you're adjusting to a new position, I would not recommend doing this with any weights at all. However, ultimately, if you do squat with weight, I do think you want to get into this full position, again, to get the full range of movement to maximize your body's potential. So, going back to this idea of squatting, if you have something under your heels, it'll help you if you're having trouble going all the way to the bottom. That also helps if, a quick tip is if you are trying to learn how to do one-legged squats. If you have something under your heel, it helps significantly because you won't fall back. You'll be able to come back up. It'll keep you balanced better, and it's a way you can start to strengthen again as you develop that pattern and position. Sorry, my camera cut out for a second. It had lost battery, so I had to charge it. So anyway, a few more quick tips. If you turn your feet out, turn it out, and spread your stance, it also will probably become easier to get down low. Ultimately, I think it's better to have your feet about shoulder width apart as you're practicing this position. And then another trick is to actually put your arms out in front and over your knees, and that'll sort of lock you in this position, and you don't have to have your core squeezing the whole time. In fact, if you want to make it harder, you can start to put your arms back further, and that'll provide different challenges for your balance if you want more variety in how you're developing this position. One very important part of how to do this, and sort of a key thing that I just learned recently and figured out recently, is that what's very important is how you engage this part of your back, right at the bottom of the small of your back, between your butt and where your back starts. And what you want to do is engage the same muscle that's required to stick your butt out, really extend the way your butt sticks out, and just try to hold that, and it's that same muscle group that will keep you forward. If you don't engage that, a lot of your weight will be further back, and it will be harder to stay upright in this position. So really start to engage that. And I actually believe that eventually, I haven't been doing it long enough to be able to do this, but I do think that it's possible to actually hold this over-exaggerated position and then still be squatting. Eventually, for me, it folds, but again, if you still engage those muscles and that grouping, it'll help keep you forward. And that's a really important area for other types of athletic performance, because it's very much your base for a lot of different movements and exercises. And to that effect, all the parts that are engaged and focused on by doing this squatting is the foundation of your body. It's the bottom. It's your feet, toes, feet, knees, ankles, I skipped, hips, and all of that, no matter what position you're in, unless you're laying down, is pretty much the foundation of how upright you are. So this all affects your posture as well, and all the health and performance benefits that come from having a good posture. One last note is I would highly recommend doing this barefoot. You'll get the most benefit to your feet and to your body by doing it this way, and your feet will also get more benefits than they would if you were doing it in shoes, and depending on your shoes you might develop imbalances by practicing it while you have the shoes on. So I recommend barefoot. So to recap, this is a very important position that not enough people are doing, and so you want to start doing it more. And I recommend easing into it and just trying to gradually build up and develop and try out different techniques or different ways of going about it, and gradually you'll build up this pattern and be able to do it better and better. And again, this tip about the lower back is really important. It'll really make a big difference when you're practicing this. And so I hope that as a result of this video, you will go out and actually try to do this. Just try it right now once the video is over, and let me know how it goes. Have fun. Bye.